I didn't do it.
Buongiorno. Congratulations. How are you?
Congratulations to you.
Do you like the position?
Hi guys, this is Simon Keane-Cowell from Architonic at the Architect Show in Athens. And I don't know if you know Architonic, it is the world's leading online library for products and materials. And that's why I'm particularly excited to be here at this materials as architecture installation by Ciarmoli Queda and beautifully delivered by Enea 9. And this is all about curating materials and transforming them into architectural space. So the guys have cleverly taken materials in panel form and created this fascinating, immersive labyrinth. It really is one of the highlights of the show here. It's very architonic, so if you're in town, come along and don't miss this.
So nice. The video was very good. And now we're going to send it to Simon. I love this. And also this is amazing. Yeah, very nice. And this one. This is a project between and this is like a implementation and then this Athanasios, you did a great job to do this, right? I mean, at the end, this is first plan. Maybe just what
Yes. All of these were files.
E anche il fatto di avere questo cheap material because that's what was an interesting thing. This is also very beautiful, bright. This is a lot. Ecco, questo qui, this is another material for non-fire. It's a big problem. This is also a nice way to move the material. But this one, I mean, they did a great job.
What is the use of it?
This is like a rooftop. Yeah, rooftop, but also you can do roads. And you can just have a more, like this is more.
Like you asked me before about my projects, and I worked a lot in different islands in Greece. So I think for me, when Miguel and Simone approached me for the collaboration, it was interesting because I always struggle to find design that is like made for Greece.
It's not that much.
Yes, so many things feel out of context as an architect. How to
Combined with
yeah, to do this collaboration where it's like these like forms that are very architectural and classic and bring something that's Greek into it. It was very interesting.
It's a nice project even because it's not easy to mix the idea of an architect, which you always have a vision, and the production of a ceramic, which is so challenging like the ceramic, of course. But it's a nice game, and I think that the result is amazing. And we are very thankful to meet you, and thanks to Simone and Miguel to meet you on our way. So I'm sure we will have nice results together.
Me too. I enjoyed a lot doing this project.
The first sample of a Greek manufacture designed by the Greek architect, and we're so proud of this, Argyro, because it is important. First of all, because not everybody understands the possibility that you have with your means. From architecture to customize your interior, it's a gap that few architects they can do with a sense of equilibrium, and you did it actually.
Thank you.
Because the shades and the lines respect. Basically, you draw your building around
The balance is very nice.
the balloon. And these lines, and the name is Dorico, we appreciate a lot because there is a lot of cultural identity.
Yes, because I always, also in my buildings, but also, like I said, there was always this need how to express the architecture and then into the fixtures. And because I work a lot in the islands, I'm thinking about, heritage and modern design and how to bridge the two. And introducing these lines, this simple Doric aesthetic, is something that you find a lot in Greece from antiquity until today, from high art to art and craft, everything. So it brought a balanced Greekness to it, I think.
With elegance.
Yes.
And contemporaneity.
Also for the company.
Kind of like translating the principles, not being, figuratively Greek.
For us, this year will be 70 years of activity at Simas, so it's even very significant partnership for us because we're bringing back the materiality of the ceramic, and who better than the Greek people knows about ceramic, and we're mixing two culture, Greek culture and Italian culture in this material, so we're so proud of that. Thank you so much for your support.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Argyro.
Yes,
You're
thank
going to
you.
be the first of many. Everybody will remember this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We also decided on a combination of ragazzi
I'm Ariadni, the managing director of Franke Hellas. Franke is a leading company of production of stainless steel sinks, granite sinks and taps, like the style that we have here. We are in production since more than 110 years, and in Greece we are working with high-end architecture offices and design offices, and we are thrilled to create amazing stuff with them and produce images like this one here.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for supporting us with Franke. You fit the concept. It gives a sense of like modern luxury, because sometimes we see the gold as related to a different way of like bling bling, but in this case, and also thank you to Silo Tech, we are able to have a kitchen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Into that. I mean, you did a great job, and thank you also to Frank. I mean, the boiserie is spectacular.
This is a new product from Cleaf and the sink with Franke, a new cooperation. We have mechanism from Bloom. The boiserie is from leather, and the profile with aluminium in between two panels. And to the other side, we have a combination for an open wardrobe with a leather and technical leather for the wardrobe with a black metal here.
Good morning. Canelli has been in the Greek market for 3 generations now, and we cooperate with Cleaf. We represent Cleaf in Greece for the last 15 years. We are happy to be a part of the Architects Show once more. Our company combines different kind of surfaces with different colors in many combinations. We bring this to the architects and we give them a great solution to use in their projects for interior surfaces. They can use the product for making wardrobes, kitchens, furniture, anything that they can come up for interior design. Thank you very much.
Poi vabbè, non parliamo della pelle, questo credo di She's very smart. No, ma sai cosa che è very smart, bravi, because you put this one to my bravo, and then this one. You know, we had architect actually, they say how to do it. Said we're giving so many ideas to the architect. With people, if you think big, and beauty exists also in things. Because even this element, which is
shape. Θέλω να πω είναι ότι υπάρχουν όπως βλέπετε εδώ με διάφορες ενέσεις.
Μάλιστα. Πολύ νότια προάστια. Ωραία.
είπα, δεν έχω προλάβει να μιλήσω. αναλυτικές αυτές τις πυραμίδες.
Μετά υπάρχει εύχομαι στα τόμα, που μέσα εδώ είναι η διεθνής εκπαιδευτική.
One year before I was born. Oh, yeah. So that's why. I'm walking in the streets here when I was
που απορροφούν στον πάρτο τρίτο.
βιομηχανία, Συρία, τότε που θα κάνεις τις χειρονομικές στην ίδια περίοδο ακριβώς.
Simone.
for public buildings in Ireland. This one we've done with the local communities in the UK to build affordable housing. So this is actually where you can self-build houses. So this is just to demonstrate that this material has an opportunity to be developed at every scale. So these people building these houses here are the people that will live in them. And we've also been working within the European Union for Horizon projects. So we have 3 Horizon projects in the office at the moment. The Timber House, which is the latest one, is about the design of timber buildings, about an understanding of how we can reuse elements within a timber building, and also understanding what the health and well-being benefits are of timber. And these are studies we've done again with the American Hardwood Export Council, this one about thinking about timber, thinking about trying to understand what natural materials do to us, how we respond to natural materials, where the health and well-being benefits are of being in a building that is made from bio-based materials. And you can see here, this is my brain, and my brain responds very well to timber, it turns out. And I just put these in last night, because I also, talking to architects, I want us to consider the kind of materials that we use, and where those materials come from, and who makes those materials. Because the provenance of our construction materials is not something that we discuss in architecture. Who makes those materials for us? What are the impacts, what are the implications of making those choices? That massive cantilever, that large piece of exposed concrete, that great big steel beam, what are those decisions that we make aesthetically as architects? What are the implications of those decisions on the people that are making those materials and on the planet itself? And then thinking about timber and actually understanding a closer relationship to forests, and understanding of how timber is cut, of how those forests are regrown, is something that, again, architects should be responsible for and understand. This is a building of a different scale. This is working in central London. We won a competition to look at redeveloping this office tower. So this is an office tower from 1968, 38 stories. And what we did was to evaluate the structure of the tower to see how we could extend the existing building, to revitalize, regenerate the existing building using timber. So this building is a kind of cruciform shape, and what we proposed was to put additional stories on top to test the weight of the existing structure, and then to build into the open corners of that building additional office space using the same services, the same lift shafts, and then curve that round in order to reduce the wind load on the building and the surrounding area, and then look at providing terraces to help bring fresh air through and into the building. And so with this building here, we're able to bring an additional 25,000 square meters of additional space into the building, 4 additional stories on top. So a total building of about 83,000 square meters, and using about 9,000 cubic meters of timber. And the entire project will take 30 months to build. So we don't need to touch the existing foundations at all. The timber structure is so light that we're able to actually build this without interrupting the existing foundations. And this will be the completed tower here. So you can see that what we've done is to retain some of the history of the existing building on the internal corners, and then the new building rounded on the edges, either side. And that is the number of tree seeds that it took to grow the trees that built our first tool building. Thank you.
Timber nowadays, we have a CRD, we have a glue lamp, we have other bio-based materials, a hybrid structure, but the aesthetic of timber, how do you combine it with the carbon performance and the construction efficiency? How we can have all of three together?
That's a really good question. It's a really good question, and it's something that we're learning in the office. It's something that we're really learning how to do. And I think that, for many years in architecture, there is in architecture schools especially, there is this way of conceiving of a building where we are conceiving of massing. We're conceiving of forms, of shapes, of objects, and then trying to, work out how we build the object that it is that we want to build. Now, nobody else conceives of a product like that. Nobody else would think about, drawing a chair without understanding what materials that chair is made out of, and without those materials informing the design of that object. And yet, in architecture, we seem to have got to this situation where the form, the mass of the building is more important than anything else. And so what we try and do in the practice is actually to think about the components that we're building with, to think about how wood works, how far it can span, how strong it is, how it works with the wind, and all those sorts of issues which begin to govern design in reality, so that we can use this material efficiently, so that we can use this material to the full extent of its capacity. So it really is about a far more tectonic way of working.
Yeah, sure. But instead of tectonic, we also have the topological. And the main thing is how timber can be topological and not tectonic. And in this is the question of the architectural language. Because when you go from small scale to large scale, let's say for your project that you have done like let's say a small installation in the city from a high-rise building, or from Trinesia, an urban planning, how this architectural language, let's say you have an identity, and in this identity you put all these tectonics in order to go from such a small to such a big thing. How you connect all this linearity?
I mean, I think it's the material that connects them, and it's the material, by prioritizing the material, by prioritizing understanding of what the capability of that material is, then I think that begins to establish a common language between all of those sort of forms or topologies of architecture. So I think that it really is about reframing success. It's about rethinking what we see as successful in architecture. It's about understanding that the implications of our work, both on the planet, but also on people, how people use those buildings, how people inhabit those buildings, how people get better, learn faster. It really is about prioritizing humanity over the individual.
However, the building remained empty and unoccupied for about 50 years, for let's say about a year ago, when it opened again after we were engaged in a substantial renovation of the project. So it was really this kind of like dormant structure. They had the nickname of the sleeping giant over the port of Piraeus. There were various urban myths that the building was leaning and that's why it could not be finished. But later on, in 2019, we were engaged to put a new facade and design the common spaces and turn this building into a mixed-use office and retail high-rise building. The challenge when we started working the building is how really to turn this dead object into this very alive structure for Piraeus, and how to reintroduce the project, the building, into the life of the city. As you can see, Athens is kind of like very flat, horizontal city, depending on the light of the day, depending on how the building would interact with the daylight. And from some aspects, you could see that the building looks much more opaque. From other angles, it looks much more transparent. And this kind of like module of the facade kind of like more resembles the window facades of the buildings around. And this kind of like shifting pattern creates very intense diagonals over the body of the building, and it interacts in various ways with the daylight. Finally, another really important aspect of the design was how to integrate the base of the building and activate basically the ground. So this is like a larger podium with retail. We reactivated that perimeter arcade that was part of the original design with shops. It's like open to the public. So it basically kind of like eliminates that boundary between the city and the building itself. Now, I think in this overall process, the greatest challenge maybe was its construction. As I mentioned, there are not a lot of high-rise structures in Greece, so we're not used to build this type of projects. We utilized a unitized system, so it's basically a prefabricated facade system, glass panels with vertical and horizontal louvers coming up to the tower, so that everything has to be pre-designed. We installed these brackets basically on the building. That's the only intervention besides the structural reinforcement of the concrete structure. For the facade, we installed these brackets, and then the panels would come up with a crane, and with the assistance of construction crews from the inside would hang the panels on the facade almost like a puzzle. So everything in a way had to be kind of like considered from the beginning, as the tolerance for mistake was very, very small. It's a bespoke facade, so it was really designed for the system. So we went through various tests, like wind tunnel tests, seismic, or this kind of like big machine that throws water and wind on the facade to basically certify the system. And another aspect that works concurrently and kind of like enhances the design concept was this sort of lighting design by Danilov Studio. We integrated these vertical strip lights on every vertical louver. They are controlled entirely individually, so you can basically create various different color patterns and schemes. And that, I think, effect really transforms the building from this sleeping, dormant structure into this like new contemporary symbol for the city. And it's been used actually to even like celebrate various events such as the French Olympics recently. So it's kind of like a tool almost to communicate in the city and bring people together. So I think closing my presentation, for me what was really important takeaway from this project is that, you know, there are various existing structures in our cities, and I think rather than seeing them as obstacles or problems, we can actually deal with them as opportunities. And I think as we shape and give life to these structures and buildings, it's really an opportunity to radically rethink our cities. Thank you very much for your presence and attention.